licensing.
Run me from my driver Vauxhall Corsa, fam, bro.
Fuck.
Plate.
Anyways,
Yeah.
let's jump into our topic, guys.
What's the topic this week, man?
All right, so today we're going to talk sexual. What's the word?
What
My
was you
mind's
saying?
just gone blank, you know.
What,
Wow.
double standards?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sexual
double standards.
standards.
Yeah, sexual
Like
double
hypocrisy and sexual.
So- The different things that are acceptable for men but are not acceptable for women sexually,
And vice versa.
and vice versa. And now, the main point I think in that is the man that sleeps with multiple women, he's seen as a hero,
Mm-hmm.
and the woman that sleeps with multiple men, she's seen as a hoe.
She's a hoe.
So we're gonna
So they say.
dive into that and try and dissect why it's like that, why we look at it like that,
Cool.
and whether or not
Mhm.
we need to change
The narrative behind it.
the narrative, and whether women are heroes too, or whether men are hoes too, or whether we just leave it as men are heroes and women are hoes.
Hey, Jem, you say this all the time. Women should go through the whole stages. It's very important in their life.
It's very, very important.
Can you explain that factor?
I believe, yeah, that every woman, I call it the whole phase, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's not politically correct, but it's just a time where they do things that they may not necessarily look back on in the best light.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe all women have that phase and they all have to go through it. Because remember, to each person it's different. One girl's whole phase could have been 15 man.
Mm.
And one girl's whole phase could be 2 man
Mm-hmm.
that just happen not to be her boyfriend, depending on who she is, innit?
All right.
But I believe everyone needs to go through that. But with this whole, what we're saying, the
Double standards.
double standards, I think
Mm.
it's because of how we value each other. We value each other based upon 2 different things.
Mm-hmm.
Men value women based upon, especially if you're looking at for a partner,
Mm-hmm.
you value the woman based upon, I've got to you before you did anything too wild.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Whereas women value us on the, I know you were wild, but I'm the one that made you stop.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
So a woman will gladly know this guy slept with half of the ends. If to a certain degree, to a lot of women, that's appealing, the status kind of thing.
Status quo.
But if you're the one that can make him stop, if you're the one that he hasn't taken anyone else seriously, but he took you seriously, that's where they gain their power. Whereas us, it's like, why you want to take me seriously now? You beat my man and my man. I came for the same treatment.
All right.
Don't try now get all sentimental with me.
But what if she did that whole phase early on in life?
But then you wouldn't know.
Matter if you met her. But
then-
suppose you did know. Suppose like you knew
No.
that when she was 21, 22, that she was a major hoe back in the day. She got busy. But now
Classic.
you've met her years down the line.
I
and
mean,
you
some man
connect
can
and
see
you're
past
cool.
it. No, some man can see past it. And I think, once again, going back to our insecurities and our ego, it comes down to how much we know. Because if you met a girl that slept with 30 man in the ends that you were not from and people you never had to encounter, it'll be easier for you to swallow than 5 man that
Yeah.
you'd walk past on the road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I think that's it. It's like your brain can compartmentalize it. Like, oh, she was a hoe, but she was a hoe in South. All right, we're in Northwest. It doesn't matter.
Mm.
Do you
But don't
understand?
you think women can have that same thought as well? As in, because I'm sure it must be difficult if a woman's with a man and she knows that he's slept with, say, everybody in the ends,
Mm-hmm.
or most people in the ends, and she knows that, 5 out of 10 girls she walks past probably done stuff with her man. Even though she's looked past it with her man, she would still feel a certain way as well.
Yes and no.
But I think, isn't that due to when, let's say, for instance, if the girls that he's probably slept with make her feel a type of way, like make her environment a bit awkward.
I don't even think that matters.
I think just even being in the same room, they would find it difficult.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But that's the
yeah,
thing.
what I'm
I
trying to
don't
say,
think it
basically.
would. As I said to you, I think it's down to the fact of, yeah, he beat you,
But I made him stop.
but now he's with me. He beat you,
Mm.
but he's with me.
So
I
basically,
think they would say that as a defense mechanism to
like
another
it's a
woman.
sense of
he
ownership.
didn't mean
Yeah.
nothing to you, but to
Yeah,
me,
it's
he
a
means
it's a
something.
weird
I
sense
think
of
they would say
ownership.
that, but they don't necessarily. They would mean it, but I still feel like they would have an issue. I
But
feel
remem-
like that's just their best form of defense.
But remember,
against
they
a woman.
know prior because with men we're not as secretive. We're more open with it.
It's an ego thing.
It's a conquest thing.
Yeah,
it's the
yeah.
notches on the bedpost.
Yo,
you beat that thing there? I beat boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
So because of that, she would be fully aware before even thinking of getting into something with him he's been about.
Right.
So she's made a conscious decision that it is where it is. Whereas us, you meet a girl and you kind of do your little hood CRB check. Like you put it out there, man. Does anyone know her? You look at her followers. How you know her? You ask the man, then boom, boom, boom. So you'll do all of that before. If you find out too much, you're not gonna go there.
Yeah.
But then,
But then I think women do the same thing nowadays as well.
Yeah, but they just don't care. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they don't do it. They just don't care.
unless you ain't beat someone that is a direct.
Even
friend.
if you have, it's about when you beat it.
Hold on, but I said this in one of the last podcasts, and you told me it would matter though.
What?
I said something similar on that, like a.
No, I said your ex.
Okay.
No, remember, the last one we were saying, if your ex turned up at your house with your brethren, would you feel sad? You would feel sad.
No, not that. Not that. Well, let's not revisit that part.
Marcus. Marcus. Oh. Is that the dry cough too?
Coronavirus.
Hey, look, you said it did. No, we. As I know, I was saying. I think I said in one of the last podcasts that I was speaking about girls, as in a girl would do something with her friend ex, but if it was like 10 years ago, like they're 30 now, and let's say they done a thing when they were like 17,
Yeah.
the girl would turn around and be like, "Well, you lot were young."
Yeah. But I still think that other girl would have an issue with it.
That's what I
I mean,
mean.
it depends on how close the girls are, really and truly.
Yeah.
But
If they're close.
But then it goes back to what you was just saying. You're saying that fuck, my man's gone blank, bro.
Corona's wiping out the man in his mind.
Yo. Sorry, carry on, man. I'll come back. To
No,
you.
I genuinely feel like the double standard will always be there because naturally we are like the hunters, innit? So we're constantly going out seeking next prey, whereas women are not seen as that. So when you've become that, it's a bit odd.
So are we guilty of seeking our next prey and thinking that they should be pure?
Yeah, we're ignorant. It's actually stupid.
I think, sorry, touching on what you said, it kind of leads into the biological differences between men and women.
Okay.
Men are seen as, like you said, the hunters, the gatherers. Men go out to conquer.
Mm-hmm.
And with a man, he only needs to look at a woman and see she looks good to want to have sex with her.
Yeah.
That is it. Whereas a woman, yeah, obviously looks play a part, but a woman will look at maybe status. They'll look at a man's accomplishments.
Financial.
They'll look at all those kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Those will play a major part in her also wanting to have sex with him. Whereas a man, he doesn't really care what her status is. He doesn't really care what her finances
she
are.
don't even
From
have to have
she
a
looks
job.
a certain
Yeah.
way.
So
when
from she looks good, he's down.
So when you
basically.
tally up the comparison, ours is just a little. It's just 1-2 things on the women. Let's say ours could be 2 things on the list, and a woman's probably got 6 things on the list.
She's got at least, yeah.
And we hold women to a higher like standard than we hold ourselves.
Yeah.
Because remember, regardless of what the woman looks like, she's getting hollered at per day. Yeah. Because remember, regardless of what she looks like, no matter what you see, every woman is getting hollered at, whether it be publicly or in secret. They're getting hollered at consistently.
Yeah.
So they're constantly battling through and saying no, 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 no. So it's a lot of pressure on them. Whereas we are going to seek.
We have to seek.
We are out there because remember old school BlackBerry days
Yeah.
where you could put up your status. Do you remember girls used to put up bored or lonely?
Yeah.
Who wants to get ping, 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 ping.
Yeah.
You go put that up. You go put up and say, yo, I'm bored, walk on. You'll get told go to your bed.
Go bed.
Go
Shut up. Attention
If
seeker.
someone does come at you, it's the one that you don't want. It's like,
Dead.
it's soft.
the night crawler. That's
You know what I mean?
Hey, Jay.
Oh, Jay, you bored, yeah?
I'm
Nah, I'm not
outside your
bored
house
still.
still.
I'm good now. I'm good.
But this is what I'm trying to say. So we just hold each other to a different standard. So I think the double standards is always going to continue.
Yeah.
It's never going to be a point where a girl said, you know what, I had sex with 50 men, and you're going to be like, is that you? Yeah.
So
You know,
so are we guilty of basically denying women because of their past?
Yes. 100%. That's what
And
we
Yeah,
do.
men- men do that.
do you think that maybe the older we get, that we should be able to look past that, because that's before our time. Like
The
you
older you
said.
get, the less you should even go to ask the question.
yeah.
The older you get.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Because-
think you're setting yourself up. Once you ask that question, you're setting yourself
For a
up.
heartbreak,
Because I think
yeah.
any number is gonna make you feel.
We're
a
in our
certain type of
30s now. Let's be logical.
You know what I
Even
mean?
if a girl started having sex at 16, when it's legal.
way.
We're looking what, a minimum. You're 30, so we're looking a minimum
15 years.
of
Let's say
14, 15 years
Yeah.
of sex.
sex.
Especially
Unless
if you've
she's
got no kids.
and if she's telling you that she had this one man from day dot till now, she's a liar.
That's very, very rare.
Don't get me wrong. Some people did meet
It
in secondary
happens,
school.
but
and-
it's not rare. It's rare. It's rare you'd meet a girl who says, "I've been with the same guy since I'm 16."
So you have to
Some
look
girls
at,
have their
especially if
hustle
they've
because-
gone uni and all of those things. All of these,
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Okay,
the
hold
u-
on.
What?
That's we're prejudging.
But yes,
No, we're making an assumption.
Yeah, you're
it's
making an
very,
assumption,
it's very
innit?
unlikely that you're gonna meet
Alright.
a woman that says from I was 16, I've only been with one guy.
Can we do it in a percentage then?
no. Do you know why I can make that assumption?
Why?
Because if all the men them I know went uni and telling me about all the things they clotted, and if the girls are not having sex with them that are also in the uni, who are they clotting? So common sense states,
I'm just playing devil's advocate, innit?
were you clotting in uni?
I stayed at home. I didn't stay on campus.
I never said whether you stayed at campus. I said,
stayed
did you
at home.
you attended
I
university?
did attend university.
Did you get up to anything? Did
I
you?
had a baby.
Did you? There we
So
go.
you're
Being back
climbing.
But
United.
her mum didn't go to university. Her mum didn't go to my university, so
The
shit.
fact of the matter is that
Nah,
there are women out there who can say, you know what, I've been with this guy for X amount of years, and he's the
Yeah.
only guy I've been
No,
with.
no,
There
no.
are.
I hear what you lot are saying.
But I'd say that's probably about 2 out of 10 women.
Cool. I hate.
And if
no,
that
that's right, that's right.
even one of those, you have to question.
No, I hear that still. So this is a techie one still. Not going to lie. So then, why is it glorified for us when we have multiple sexual partners?
Because that is what we are raised to think is acceptable. We're raised to think
Raised
know-
by who?
society. Society
Okay,
plays
so
a massive part.
Cool.
I think it's a mixture of, society and biology, going back to my last point. When you look at a man, biologically, a man can have 100 babies in a year if he wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
just simply because of how we're made up.
Mhm.
We just can let off.
Mm-hmm.
Women can only have 1 child a year.
Yeah.
So they're not designed to be just letting off. They're just
Mhm.
designed to receive one. That's it.
Yeah, if you go back to actually procreation and how
That is it.
because if you
That's
look,
meant to be them for the
Animal
done.
Kingdom,
Yeah.
lion beats bear lionesses, has bear
Multiple
offspring,
offspring.
and then moves on. Now as the woman, you are at home, you're looking. So if we go back into traditional values, I mean, if you go back far enough, you got, is it matriarchal societies where the woman had multiple husbands? You have got those societies if you go far enough back.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more common that you have the patriarchal where the man has multiple wives
Yeah, that was
and then he has multiple kids and he just keeps it.
that was both of my grandparents, because my dad is the eldest male out of 17, and my mum, I think my granddad had about the same amount, but obviously with different women.
Yeah.
So when you go back into time, it was acceptable for a man to have multiple women and multiple kids.
Oh yeah.
Than
It
obviously-
was almost the norm.
yeah, than what it is
It
now.
was beyond acceptable. You
because-
had
yeah.
to.
Because CSA is real now, so you can't do that now.
It was-
But
it
there's
was
some
the
men out
norm.
there that live that life. They've got bare kids.
And touching back on
Like-
history as well,
Mm-hmm.
Western wise, in history, it was like this whole sex before marriage thing was was brought in because back in the day, if you had a child and you weren't married, and let's say that guy fucks off, the state or the church now has to look after you and that child because there's no man to do that.
And you're shunned by the community as well.
So that's why they started pushing that narrative of, how are we going to stop people from just having babies? All right, you got to be married before you do that. That's why they started pushing that narrative, because back in the day, if you had a child unmarried, and let's say that guy's gone off to war or he's gone wherever, he's just fucked off basically, the state has to look after you. They have to bring you in and look after you. And they didn't have the money to be looking after all these women and all these children. So they started enforcing that narrative. You got to be married. You got to be married. They started making it a thing where if you weren't married and you had a child, you'll be shunned. You'll be pushed out. You'll be rejected. No one's going to look after you. No one's going to look at you. So that's why that whole... And then that's why it flipped as well, where men even started to even get some pumps having to propose to women. Because like women weren't letting off easy. They weren't letting off because they knew that, yo, there's no contraception back then. So they knew that if they're having sex, it's highly likely they're going to get pregnant. So they knew, now you got to be marrying me if you want this. And that's why a lot of men were just proposing, like, yo, because they wanted pumps.
There was an inflation in marriages, bro.
The thing is, it's never going to be equal, and we're not designed to be. That's the long and the short of it. Men and women are not designed to be equal. So there will always be what's seen to be hypocrisy.
So... asking both of you, could you be with a woman that's had multiple sex partners before your time?
The thing is, it depends on what you classify as multiple.
Yeah,
because everyone's benchmark is different.
So we're in our 30s, and you've met this girl, you like her vibe, you're cool with her, you know, you can see something with you. Then you have that discussion about sex.
I'm not having that discussion.
But she wants to have that discussion.
I'm telling her no.
But she wants to be open with you.
I'm telling her no.
Okay. But she wants to be open.
You're not understanding what I'm saying to you.
Okay.
I know me. It's better you don't tell me because I cannot control how I look at you after you tell me what you're about to tell me. So
basically the number will affect you.
What number would affect you?
To be honest with you, I don't know, because it depends on how much I like the person. If I like you enough, I can probably see past a lot. I can justify it in my mind. You were young, you went through something. Do you understand? Because when you go into your number, then we have to be like, did you have a boyfriend? How long were these relationships?
You gotta break it all
and
down.
then if you look at, let's say now 16 to 30, and she says, well, I was with the first guy for 5 years, that brings you to 21. Then I was with the next guy from 25, for example, onwards, and then she's met you, hypothetically, but she slept with 15 men. So you're saying in this 4-year window where you didn't have a boyfriend, you clarted down another, 13 men? Your brain, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you break it down, because once you step into this, your brain's going to start doing the mad maths thing and think, wait, but you said you were here and and it's going to be too much for you.
Yeah.
So is there an acceptable age to have a hoe phase, what you call it?
I think the younger you have it, you see that between year 11 and finishing uni,
that's your time.
I think
that's your curious level.
I think if you're going to live your truth, do it then.
But why not in your early 20s?
But why, I was going to say, why do we look at women differently if, say, she decided to do that when she was
because
between
remember,
the ages of 21 and 25?
Because it goes back to what you're saying. You're saying it's how we're biologically set up. Now, I personally think a lot of women are ready to have kids a lot quicker than we are. So for you to find that person for you to have a child with, you want to be around them for a certain amount of time, innit? So that's kind of like I see those years as like your play years. You're running around, you're going uni, you're back, you're
So basically
raving.
you're young and dumb in those years.
You can
get away with it.
You can put it down to immaturity.
But they say from the ages of like 21 to 25, it's like you're supposed to kind of like live your life.
They say after 30 you're supposed to live your life.
So this is what I'm trying to say. If you're going to do stuff that you may look back on and be like, ooh, I shouldn't have done that, you can't blame it on immaturity after a certain age.
But then we're being hypocrites because a guy can then...
Doesn't even matter what age you
Yeah,
are.
But we're not saying we're young and dumb. We're saying we're nasty. We're flying the nasty
So
flag.
that's gonna say. So is it
then
is it okay then
we're
to
making it
label
excuse.
men if women are called hoes for say doing it between certain ages?
Yeah.
Are men also hoes for doing it?
Yes, we are.
certain
But
ages?
the thing is, there's a difference. If you call a man a hoe, he'll probably be like, yeah, cool.
This is what I'm trying to say. Why can a man get away? Why is it okay for a man to be a
because
hoe.
we've owned it for so long
And-
that we don't care.
And it's part of our ego because we look at it as we've broken down so many walls that by the time we come to you,
It's an accomplishment.
It's accomplishment.
But then
Like, are you really gonna deny?
can
me
we
now
then
because of
flip
what
it
I've
back to women? Because maybe we're basically saying, yeah, we're hoes,
done? Mhm.
but women still love us. So is it that then it's a case where if you want us, you accept us, that's on you type of thing? Are women's acceptance levels a bit broad? Like, is the gap
Yes,
bigger?
100%. I think it is.
Is it because women get to a certain stage in their life where they need to settle down? And they need
Society's
to-
taught them acceptance.
Yeah, and they obviously they get to that. Like, you get girls that do this. That by the time they finish school, they're like, oh, by the time I'm 21, I'm gonna buy my house. 25, have a business. And if that doesn't happen by then, you actually find them by the time they're hitting 30, settling down with guys that probably have 2 kids or 3 kids already.
All right.
So
Yeah. Do you know what it is? I think it's
that they start they compromise.
They
because-
have to.
Yeah, no,
more or
but
less.
society, I think the society we're raised in
Mhm.
has taught them all men are dogs, all men will do this, all men will do that. It's programmed.
Mm.
So when they get to an age where we are actually doing these things, it's like, all right, cool.
Mm.
Whereas we're programmed, you're supposed to find a gal and get to her before the hood has got to her, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So when you start hearing that this guy, in our heads, her value is not what she's lowered in value.
Mm.
Whereas our social currency is different. It's like
Yeah.
we get
Yeah.
more pricey the more we've achieved, and they lose value the more they've achieved.
Mm.
So they're like a new car. Once you take out the car, like depreciates straight away.
It depreciates, and then the more owners you have, that exactly like a car.
Yeah,
But
so
then-
we're basically like the old school vintage, because the longer we survive on our MOTs
But if
keep
my-
running,
But that's just no. But that's an age thing. If a car is 20 years old and has had 20 owners, it's looked at different. If he's 20 years old and he's only had one owner.
Yeah, no, but you remember, we're saying your sexual age.
yeah.
Your sexual age. So your sexual age is 15. So if you started having sex at 16 and now you're 31, you've been having sex for 15 years.
Yeah.
So if in that 15 years you've had 20 or 30 owners, what's wrong with your car why no one's kept it?
But then you ask that same question to the man. What's wrong with your car? Wow.
Yeah,
no
but
one's
this-
kept you.
But society tells us it's okay
Mm.
because we are just out here practicing. We're test driving. We're perfecting all our errors.
Right.
Because remember, our one's practice. We're practicing.
And I
You
feel like
just
so
had
let's-
multiple
and
owners.
Let's get- go on.
and I think the difference between us is when we want to settle down, we can do it like that.
Let's get into the practice thing then, because we will be the first to get with a girl and she's dead in bed and write her off.
Yeah.
Because she's maybe only been with one guy. But we will glorify the ones that are doing our madness because she's maybe been with a few guys and been around,
But in our
learned a
head-
few things.
We tell ourselves she hasn't. She's just that good. She is just that good.
We have programmed in our head that.
So then how do
she
you
is-
how do you balance that then? So if you get with a girl who said only been with one guy
Yeah.
and
she
her
says
her skills are defined to just that one guy.
Mm-hmm.
So she's been doing what that one guy likes for years, and now she's met you.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't know anything better but what that previous guy liked. You're gonna write her off straight away. You're
Of
gonna have
course.
sex with her, and you're gonna
You
she'll
will,
dead firm.
you
da-da-da.
will, but then
You're
if
gonna
I'm
write her
saying-
off.
it's
It
not
depends
about
how much you
how
like her,
much-
though.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. If you
Depends how
like
much
her,
you like
like
her.
her.
But even if you like her, yeah,
Now you can train. Depends
Yeah,
on
you
your
can.
age. You
You
can
can
you
train
can
her.
train
yeah,
her.
you can train her. But let's get it real. You probably got another girl that done the madness to you the week before, and you're gonna revert back to her. You're gonna, she's dead. Let me call my girl back.
Okay. But in our heads, we erase everyone that came before us.
As long as you like this girl,
She
Yeah,
did
you
no
like
wrong.
her,
She did
but
no
she's
wrong.
not satisfying you
No,
now
no.
because of
Even
her
the
lack of
thing that's had
experience.
a couple, man. If you like her enough, no one came before you.
Yeah,
She just
lift
happens
them
to be
up.
this
No, but
good.
forget who came before you. I'm talking about the satisfying you part.
okay, but if
She's not satisfying you because she hasn't got that mileage on her clock.
but then you can't. Okay,
But we're not
if you
seeing the mileage.
yeah, that's the
No,
thing.
forget about the mileage. All right, so forget. You don't know if she's got. Just say you think she's got mileage, or you don't know what her
Yeah.
mileage is, but she's just not satisfying you.
Yeah,
But
if
in the background, that's you don't know this, but in the background, that's because she has not been around. She hasn't really been out there like that. She hasn't experienced different man. She hasn't.
No, because some girls have done that and they're just dead.
They are. But what's the likelihood of a girl who's been with one man for say 10 years?
Mm-hmm.
So she's learned everything that he likes in them
Yeah,
10
but it
years.
depends on who he is.
Then to come to you, you like different shit.
Go on, like what?
Whatever it might
But
be.
bro,
but
it depends on who he is.
Yeah.
Because you see if she bucks the right Donny.
The inner freak will come
He's
out.
done the mad 50 Shades of Grey thing to
It's
her.
coming
So
out.
when she bucks you, she's all taking you to a next place. You're like, rah.
I believe girls have this.
If they like you enough, they'll do anything.
They have-
please.
yeah, they will.
Girls are controlled by this demon called succubus.
But what I'm saying is, from that
Oh, for
one, did you really say that?
yeah, bro.
The man
Do you know?
says-
Do you know what that is?
Jay,
We spoke about this. What do you mean?
Jay,
What is-
every week. What? It's him, you
I'm
know.
just saying.
Bro,
He's
like,
a vulnerable guy, you know.
I'm not. I'm just saying.
you're
like,
exposing this person who's done this sucker bust to you. To be like, oh,
Wait,
Oh, so y'all here talking about me, big man.
Hold on. First of all, I didn't say it happened to me. I'm just saying that women
bro,
have
she
this
knows.
inner-
From you said it, she's gonna be like,
You know when
ding,
man,
ding,
man,
ding, ding, ding.
give man by Wednesday you're gonna
Wait,
get a
hold
call.
on.
Bro, you know,
Bro, I
you're
just
chatting about
said-
me, yeah.
I just
On
said
your little
something.
podcast.
Oh,
I
so
just
you,
said something.
so
You
you,
don't
you'd
refer to
remember it,
that.
yeah? You tried to act like it was nothing, yeah? Okay.
And his baby was gonna call you. You suck your must now.
So who's that then? Because you haven't mentioned that to me.
Remember, I'm single, bro. So what are you not talking about? The
I
world
live
can't
your
prove-
life, my guy.
Yeah, no, I live by truth. But nah, but that thing is real though, and we spoke about it. It's an inner thing in women, fam. And you see how we talk about there, women out there that would be like, oh my god, they know about it. It's real.
The older we get, the less it should matter. That's the long and the
Yeah.
short
Nah, I
of it. As
believe
far as
that
I'm
so.
concerned, you shouldn't even ask the question. You meet the girl, you like the girl, she does what she does, and you're happy with
why
it.
should you not answer the question? Because if you're in if you're getting into that relationship,
Why do you need to know?
Well, I think hold on, if you're getting into a relationship and you guys want to be as open as a book, don't you think like disclosing certain things may just help? Because let's say for instance,
relationships,
hold
yes.
on, let's say for instance you didn't ask, yeah,
Mhm.
and then one day you like out and then you bump into someone she had sex with and that's like a mutual friend of yours. Do you want that awkward embarrassment? Or
That's
would
a
you-
different
would you
situation.
like to
If
know?
she knows that she's had sex with a mutual friend of yours, then she should disclose that.
But
Yeah,
then
she doesn't have
But
to,
she
tell
doesn't
you her
have to
entire
disclose.
body count.
I've had sex with 10 men before you.
When you're applying for a job, do you tell them about the job you had at 18?
it's on my CV.
Yeah, but you only account for the last 3 years, innit?
You do
Before that, they don't care.
But in your CV, when I upload
Nah,
my CV states
I alter my CV. That's too many jobs.
But they won't look at all of it. They're gonna look at your last 2 to 3 years worth of work history.
They will look at your last 2 to 3 years, but on your CV you will have your
I
career
don't.
history.
I
After a
edit
certain
mine.
amount of time, I take stuff off. It's not relevant no more.
Me telling them that I worked in Sainsbury's at 19
Yeah,
has no relevance.
it's not
to me.
relevant anymore.
Okay, cool, but your CV is supposed to show your career track record.
not
correct?
Not
all of
your
it.
entire,
Not all
because
of it.
even when they're doing reference checks, depending on how old we are, they only go back 10 years.
They
So
do. They
as
ask you.
far
They,
as-
they ask you. No, they ask you your last 5 years of work.
But there we go.
Cool, but I'm just saying, is it not your CV
Yeah, but your
originated to show your career history, right?
Not
Yes.
but
Yeah.
your career that's relevant. Like you said, you working in Sainsbury's when you were 16 is not relevant to your job now, being a fucking manager of a company. Like, they don't
So
care about
this
that.
girl having sex with Jermaine from South when she was 17 has nothing to do with the individual she stands in front of you at
I
30.
hear that. I'm just asking a question, so you guys would never want to know.
I don't feel if we're having a
playing
conversation
devil's
and
advocate here.
we're just revealing,
Yeah.
and you know in the flow of the conversation,
Yeah.
oh yeah, and there was this guy and then you say, oh yeah, and I met a girl and da 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 da.
Yeah.
Cool, but for me to approach a girl and be like, so
No,
What's your body? How much man you beat?
That's an idiot thing. I think.
That's-
I think. Like you said, if you're in that relationship with that person, as time goes on, that conversation will happen in bits and bobs.
and you'll like them so much that it doesn't what they unless they're saying to you something wild. And
Yeah.
even then, depending on how much you like them, you can see past it.
Mm-hmm.
If she says to you, "Rah, you know, when I was 19, I was curious enough, so I had a little threesome."
I was gonna ask that, you know. What if what if yeah, you're chatting to a thing, yeah? Like she's the shit. Like,
Yeah.
she's ticking all the boxes. Yeah, she's smart, she's got a good job, family orientated, caring, all that jazz, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You lot are just having general chit chat and it comes out that she went to like a sex party
I got Clyde.
years before and had sex with multiple people at that sex party, would that affect the way you
I
look
think
at
my
it?
ego would make me play it off.
Nah, I wouldn't be bothered because it's
I think my
Wow.
ego, I think part of me would be bothered, but my ego would let me laugh it off and be like, "What? You're freak, yeah. Like my ego, but part of me would be like, oh.
Bomber Claude.
you know when you sit there vulnerable, pull up the sheet, it's I'd feel
Like,
mad.
would that not play with your?
Would it play with you?
Man.
It will. It will play with me a little bit. If I liked her genuinely that much, and it was, years ago, I would, like you said, I would try and just like push it to a side and just get on with it.
You see-
But it will eat at me a little bit. I'll
You
be
say
like,
she'd be washing the dishes. You'd be like, you look cool.
yeah, like them ones like
yeah.
she's sweeping up or something. You're like, oh,
You look freak.
bitch.
That is when you get catch up in
That's what you're
argument.
doing,
Shut
yeah.
up after you fucked all 10 man in a party. You
That's when it'll come out,
dickhead.
innit?
Welcome to the party.
Man, but this is what I'm trying to say. I just don't want to know. I'll be honest with you because I know how my brain works. I just don't want to know.
I'm gonna be real with you. I really don't want to know.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
want to know.
think-
Like, it doesn't matter.
I think from you feel like you have to ask that question, you're in trouble.
It's the beginning of a very toxic
You're in
relationship.
trouble, yeah.
It is because you're always just gonna be. It actually fucks with your trust issues as well. In a
Bro,
weird
like-
way, because you'd be like,
Because the thing is, no matter what number she says to you, you're gonna feel a certain type of way.
Yeah.
And
She
you're not
could
gonna
say, "I've
believe
been
it.
with 2 men," and you're gonna be like, "Oh,
But you're not
my
going to believe
chest.
it.
yeah." And even then, you're gonna be like, "2, shut up, man. No way you've already slept with 2, man. The way you were doing that madness last night, there's no way that's 2."
And then you
man."
yeah, oh.
And then bare flashes and you're like,
Because you know, if you get that wickedness, you'd be like,
Yeah, you say,
Daddy.
"Nah, you got mileage. There's no
Yeah,
way that's
you-
2, man."
you learned that at the sex party, didn't you? Innit? Yeah.
And then-
Fuck Marcus.
So you won't even believe her.
Yeah.
So there's no point answering the question. You're in a
me
dangerous place.
personally, I'm not asking it. And yes, double standards are real.
They
And
are.
they're going to stay
No,
there
they
because
are
we're
real.
not meant to be equal.
Mm.
We are not meant to be seen as equal. We're not meant to take these things as equal. And women are going to be like, but why not? We're not. There's a difference between balance and equality. And
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
there has to be a balance.
Repeat that again. Just
There's a
repeat.
difference between balance and equality.
Yeah.
So equal means 50-50. What you do, you do. No. Balance means if I do too much of something, you have to do less than it to balance us out.
Yeah.
If you're doing the same amount as me, it's not going to make sense
Yeah.
because we are fundamentally then coming in as the exact same person.
Mm.
So the energy.
So
that
we're
bringing in
we're
is
going to clash. We're going to clash.
Yeah.
It's just how we value women. Nobody wants to know that their woman has done the world of madness. Sometimes we don't even if it's not the world of madness, we don't want our woman associated with a particular person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how deep it is. That could have been one of the 2 people in her life she's been with. But if it's him, I'm not on it.
Yeah.
That's how fragile our egos are.
Because your mind makes you operate thinking he had what's mine.
The mind thing. That's what it is. It's the possessiveness. It's but you're mine now.
Yeah.
So anything that came before you,
Doesn't exist.
it doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't
you are
matter.
solely mine. And that's because our egos and our insecurities our egos are fragile and our insecurities are so extreme that we can't handle it. Whereas girls can look past it and be like,
So then
yeah,
it's like. And tell me if I'm diverting off the subject, because it's like some women can forgive when their men cheat, but then when a woman cheats, men are like just right off the whole.
because
That's an ego thing.
They
fragile
write off.
ego, fam.
That's a
You start
ego
off,
thing.
so
It's that whole thing of this is mine, and then when you now
Yeah.
realize that a man has infiltrated what's yours,
Yeah.
it's
and
like
remember, it's deeper. As we get older, you start to realize a lot of women are naturally more emotional than we are. So if they've had sex with someone, there's an emotional attachment. Not all the time, but a lot of the time there's an emotional attachment to that person. So not only have you lost them physically,
You just mentally.
you've lost them emotionally as
Yeah.
well. So once they've crossed that line and gone over there, it's peak.
and that's probably going on from that. That's probably another reason as to why I think sometimes men, not even just men, because even women look at other women differently when they have sex with multiple people. This whole energies thing and emotions thing, because
Transfer your energy.
yeah, all of that. And I think women having sex with women is quite. Well, I wouldn't say for all women, it's quite emotional.
Mhm.
So if you're like, rah, you've done a madness with all these guys. Like, what was it? Like, was you emotionally attached to all of these guys?
Or are you emotionally broken?
But then,
Or are you emotionally
does
broken
that
to the
revert,
point
does
where
that
you
revert
just...
to the daddy issues? Because they say
No, not
It could
necessarily.
be. It could be many things.
but they say most girls that, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't believe it, but they always associate girls that go through whole stages or whole periods in their life, they've
With
got daddy
daddy
issues.
I think it also depends on how...
And why do we connect
You,
daddy issues to?
Because we feel like as if your daddy was around, he wouldn't have allowed you to get to this stage.
But then there's girls that did grow up with their dads. And
Yeah,
their dads
'cause I was
loved
gonna
them
say,
and
I
nurtured
don't
them, and
think
they
it's-
still behave that
I
way.
don't think it's always a daddy issue. I think sometimes it's just how you view sex. Now,
Some people view sex as nothing.
differently. Some people have sex because a power thing. Some women like to have power over men, so they have sex with them. Some it's emotional. Some it's money. Some it's just because they want to get somewhere, so they have sex with someone. And some it could be, like you said, it could be daddy issues. It could be something mentally that's happened to them. So it depends on how you view sex. Some women look at sex just as pleasure,
Because when
and they just want to feel good, so they just have sex. So it doesn't matter who they're having sex
when
with.
they were all promoting this hot girl summer, wasn't it to promote that, you know,
Live your truth.
but we have the power, like pussy's power.
Yeah, it's that. It was a lot of things, innit? I don't think it's just that was just solely about sex, but yeah, I think it was more of just a power thing overall. Just do you type of thing, innit? Like, and don't let no one tell you that you can't do you.
Man, no, leave it in there.
To license it.